Chapter 34. Murray. When Murray woke up on Christmas morning, Sarah's side of the bed was cold. He felt the familiar clutch of panic as he searched the house for her. The back door was unlocked, and Murray cursed himself for leaving the key out. But when he tore it open and ran out the garden, he found Sarah sitting quietly on the bench. She was barefoot, dew from the bench soaking into the cotton robe she wore over her nightdress. Her thin arms encircled the knees drawn up to her chest, a mug of tea warming her hands, which were black with soil. Ignoring the damp, Mary sat on the bench beside her. The garden was narrow, a once well tended vegetable patch at the end, with a greenhouse and a neat rectangle of lawn between two beds raised with railway sleepers. Closer to the house, where he and Sarah sat, were a square patio lined with pots. Murray watered them on the rare occasion the British weather failed to deliver rain, but didn't know what to cut back and what to leave, and gradually the colour disappeared from the patio. Look, Murray had followed Sarah's gaze to the largest pot in which a willow bliss was embedded. There had been something growing, Murray remembered, with pale pink flowers as thin as tissue paper. Before it had dried and withered, nothing more than a collection of dry sticks clinging to the willow. The sticks were on the ground now, the earth cleared of weed and freshly turned. That looks a lot tidier. Yes, but look, Murray looked. But besides one corner of the bliss, where the willow sunk into the earth, was the tiniest shoot of light green. Murray felt a gleam of hope as Sarah slipped a hand into his. Happy Christmas. Dinner was turkey crown and all the trimmings. You sit there, Sarah said, pushing Murray into the sofa. Relax. It was hard to relax when he could hear Sarah swearing as several things came to the boil at once, just as something else proved to be. Fuck, that's hot. After a while, Murray poked his head around the door. Need a hand? All under control. There were pans everywhere, including several on the floor and one balanced precariously on the windowsill. It's still just the two of us, right? We'll have leftovers tomorrow. And for the next 3 weeks, Murray thought, oh crap, I burnt the bread sauce. I hate bread sauce. Murray undid Sarah's apron. He pushed her gently towards the chair. Sit there, relax. As he stirred the gravy, he felt Sarah's eyes on him. He turned around. She chewed out a piece of skin at the side of his fingernail. Tell me the truth, is it easier when I'm at Highfield? Murray had never lied to her. Easier, yes. As enjoyable, nowhere near. Sarah digested his answer. I wonder if he's after her money. It was a while before Murray caught up. Mark Hemmings? Anna thinks Mark never met her parents, but we know Caroline had a point with him. We also know that together Caroline and Tom were worth a fuckload of money. Sarah poured herself a small serving of wine and stood to top up Murray's glass. Caroline goes to see Mark when she's distraught over the death of her husband. She discloses that she's worth somewhere in the region of £1,000,000. Mark bumps her off and moves in with the daughter. Boom. Murray looks skeptical. I suppose it's marginally more convincing than your theory that Caroline was murdered for lodging a planning objection against the neighbour. I haven't ruled that one out completely, but I think the money's more likely. Mark and Anna aren't married. He wouldn't automatically inherit. Yet, Sarah said darkly, but he's working on it, and once he's got his hands on her money and the house, she drew a single finger across her throat, making a melodramatic gargle sound as she did so. Murray laughed at Sarah's macabre mime as he started to dish up, covering the burnt bits of potato with gravy. But the thought that Anna Johnson might be in danger sent a shiver down his spine. As soon as the bank holiday's over, I'll see what the high-tech crime unit can do on the number used to make the Diane Brent call. I'll put money on the fact that whoever put the brick through Anna Johnson's window also made that call, and whoever made that call knows how Tom Johnson died. He put a plate piled high with food in front of Sarah and sat opposite her. It'll be someone close to the family, though. Mark my words, Sarah said. Pick up her knife and fork. It always is. Not for the first time, Murray thought she was probably right. But who? Chapter 35. Anna. I haven't held Ella all evening. She's been passed around like a parcel, seemingly enjoying the attention and offering no resistance to the arms of friendly strangers. Robert's Christmas Day drinks party is the last place I want to be right now, but it has at least provided a respite from the scrutiny of Mark and his mother, whose sympathy for me on Christmas Eve had waned by lunchtime today. I was doing my best, opening a stocking for Ella I'd filled only hours before, sipping a weak Bellini at breakfast, but every conversation was an effort. Every word felt like a lie. She could make a bit of effort. It's Ella's first Christmas after all. It was somewhere around 3, and Mark and Joan were washing up after lunch. I paused on the stairs and dug my socks toes into the carpet. Not eavesdropping, just listening. She's grieving, Mum. I grieved when your father died, but I didn't give up, did I? I put on my face and my apron and carried on looking after you all. Mark said something I didn't catch, and I carried on down the stairs and into the hall, deliberately stepping on the loose board I always made sure to avoid. The voice in the kitchen stopped abruptly, and by the time I came into the kitchen, they were washing up in silence. There she is. Here's Mummy. Jane was falsely bright. Did you have a nice nap, dear? I hadn't napped. How could I have done? But I had seized the invitation to do so, as an escape from Mark's clawing concern, and Joan's increasing irritation that I wasn't alive, and soul of the party. I had lain on the bed, staring at the ceiling, my mind racing. It is still racing. Where is Mum now? Did she spend Christmas at the Hope? Is she safe? Why do I even care? The thought of Ella being in the nursery when that brick came through the window is horrific. My mother brought this to our door, as surely as if she'd thrown the brick herself. How can I forgive her for that? And why, knowing that my father has done, is there a part of me that still wants to see him? For the last 24 hours, I replayed the narrative of my childhood, with a filter provided by the knowledge that my father was not the man I thought he was. My life is collapsing into foundations that were built on lies. Faking your death isn't something you enter into lightly. Mum must have been desperate. She needs me. I can't forgive her. I need her. And around in circles, Robert's drawing room is full of our neighbours. There was a handful of children here, although most of the residents are older than us, their offspring's grown and with their own families. I knew everyone in the room except the couple by the fireplace, who must be the new occupants of Sycamore. I saw the removal van there last week. Mark is engrossed in an animated discussion about alternative therapies with Anne and Andrew Booth from 2 doors down. And Joan has found a comfortable spot on our sofa and isn't moving. I'm walking slowly from room to room. There are pockets of people in the kitchen, the hall, and the drawing room. And I drift from one to the other with a plate of food in one hand and a drink in the other, as though I'm en route to my seat. No one stops me. I don't want to stand in a corner and make people feel like they have to come and check I'm okay. I don't want to talk. Everyone tonight has offered their condolence, even though everyone did just that at my parents' memorial service. I grow hot as I remember the tears that were shed, speeches made, the kindness of our near strangers who took time out of their week to write a card, make a casserole, send flowers. What would they say if they knew? Each well-meaning, heartfelt platitude makes me sick with guilt, and so I keep moving from room to room, avoiding eye contact, never stopping. I move past Robert, who is holding court with the elderly sisters who live in the corner house. Not technically our street, but they make amazing sausage rolls, which ensure them invitations to any communal celebration, sympathetically designed. I'll be happy to show you the plans. One by one, he gains support for his extension. He hasn't won over Mark yet, but I have no doubt he will. I would, of course, be happy to compensate you for the inconvenience, Robert has said when he came over to show us the plans, which involve temporarily removing the boundary between our properties and digging up the disused septic tank and sewage system. I'll ensure that our planting disturb is replaced and a brand new lawn installed when everything's finished. I'm just a little concerned about the light, Mark had replied again. I've He'd have got on well with Mum. He could have joined her campaign to stop back garden development, listening to her arguments about environmental impacts and the integrity of historic buildings. For a second, I see the two of them plotting over the kitchen table, and I have to swallow hard to stop myself from crying. Mark would like Mum. I know he would. And she'd like him. She'd like anyone who looked after me the way he does. I have a sudden picture of Murray McKinsey with Mark's business bio on my mother's handwriting on the reverse. I shake it away. They never met, Mark says. They didn't, and he has no reason to lie. I trust him, but I can't tell him about Mum. The second I do, he'll make a call to the police. There are no grey areas for Mark. He's straight down the line. I used to like that in him. I still like it. It's just complicated now. I wandered back to the kitchen. A neighbour from several doors away catches my eye from the opposite side of the room, and without thinking, I smile. I look away, but it's too late. He makes a beeline for me. His wife follows in his wake. I said to Margaret, We must catch you before we go. Didn't I, Margaret? Hi, Don. Hello, Margaret. Having reached me, Don takes a deliberate step back in order to look me up and down like an absent uncle. I wonder if he's about to comment on how much I've grown, but instead he sighs, spitting an image of her. You are? Isn't she, Margaret? Oh, yes, two peas in a pod. I force a smile. I do not want to be like my mother. How are you? I'm fine, thank you. Don looks positively disappointed. It must be hard, though. Christmas. Margaret chimes in case I've forgotten what day it is. Despite spending the last 19 months grieving, I am suddenly paralyzed with uncertainty. Should I be crying? What do they expect from me? I'm fine, I repeat. It still doesn't feel right, Don says. I mean, both of them. Such a shame, terrible shame, Margaret echoes. They're talking to each other now. My presence is irrelevant, and I have the uncomfortable feeling of having been sought out as a catalyst for their entertainment, for the ghoulish pleasure derived from their talking about those less fortunate. I scan the kitchen to see who is holding Ella, so I can manufacture a breastfeeding related exit. I thought I saw her in the park yesterday. I freeze. Funny how your mind plays tricks on you. Margaret gives a little trill of laughter. She looks around, a storyteller in full flow, and her laughter stops abruptly as her eyes reach mine. She rearranges her face into something approximating sympathy. I mean, when I looked properly, it was nothing like Caroline. Older, black hair, very different. Clothes she wouldn't have been seen dead in. Too late. She releases her faux pas. She realizes her faux pas. Will you excuse me, I say? The baby. I don't even bother finishing my sentence. I retrieve Ella from another neighbour's arms and find Mark in the study with Robert, looking at the extension plans. I'm going to take Ella home. She's tired, all the excitement. I smile at Robert. Thanks for a lovely party. I'll come with you. Mum be wanting her bed too. We're all done here, I think. The men shake hands and I wonder what they've been discussing, but I've already on my way to find Joan. As always, it takes ages to leave as we say goodbye and Merry Christmas to people we see in the street on the park, most days anyway. See you on Sunday, someone calls out as we leave. I wait till we're out of earshot. Sunday? I invite the neighbours over for New Year's Eve, a party. He sees my face. No, not a party, just a few streets to see in the new year. A party. Maybe a little party. Oh, come on. We never get a babysitter on New Year's Eve. This way we get to stay home but still have fun. Win-win. Text Laura, see if she's already made plans. Bill too, of course. It's days away, I tell myself. I have more pressing things to worry about. I'll tell Robert we'll support his planning application, Mark says, when Ella's in her Moses basket and Mark and I are getting ready for bed. What's changed your mind? He grins through a mouthful of toothpaste. 30 grand. 30 grand? It's not going to cost 30 grand to replace the lawn and stick some plants back in. Mark spits and swills water around the basin. If that's what it's worth to him, I'm not going to argue. He wipes his mouth, leaving us wipes me on the hand towel. No, I don't have to worry about the flat being empty for a while. You didn't have to worry about it anyway. I told you. He gives me my minty kiss and heads for bed. I stare in the mirror. My skin is still free from lines, but the bones over which it stretches are undeniably my mother's. Margaret thinks she saw Mum in the park yesterday. She doesn't know it, but she probably did. It's only a matter of time before someone really does recognize her, before someone calls the police. I could stop all of this right now by telling the truth. So why haven't I? I've known for more than 24 hours that my parents are alive, that my father faked his death to escape debt, and my mother faked hers to get away from my father. She betrayed me, lied to me. Why aren't I calling the police? My face stares back at me from the mirror, the answer written on my eyes, because she's my mother and she's in danger.